prices are going up all over the world. They're about to kick into a whole new gear. So the headline inflation numbers are going to really spike, but they're going to spike in a way that the central bank, particularly the Fed, is going to perceive it as a tax hike. The fact that so many Americans are going to have to pay so much more for the basic necessities of life, that's going to cause the Fed to rethink its strategy. In fact, the market has already priced out at least 2 of the rate hikes that it had priced in prior to the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And that's part of the dynamic that has changed here, because what was helping to fuel the rotation out of momentum into value was the specter of more rate hikes. Well, now that landscape has changed. As the market is backing rate hikes out of their expectations, and I believe more hikes are going to get backed out as the situation continues to get worse for the global economy. That is also what is behind this correction in that trend, where people are selling these real businesses that have real earnings that are impacted by Russian connections and a weakening economy, and they're moving money back into the broken down momentum stocks. Look at what's happened over the last couple of days to the ARK Innovation Fund. It's up about 23% in a couple of days. I mean, a bull market, right, of 20%. People are buying these stocks as they're selling value stocks. Why? Well, because these companies don't have any assets in Russia. They don't really do business in Russia. They don't have any earnings, so you don't have to worry about the earnings going down. People are just buying these stocks because they're down, and they think, well, maybe they'll go up because the Fed might not hike. Or if they do hike, they're not going to hike as many times as they did before. The same thing is happening to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now up better than 30% in the last couple of days. As I'm recording this podcast, Bitcoin is over 44,000, 44,600. It's just been going straight up these last couple of days, just as the beaten down tech stocks in the ARK Innovation ETF have been going up. Now, gold is also going up, and now you've got a lot of these Bitcoin guys saying, aha, we told you so. Peter Schiff was wrong. Look, gold and Bitcoin are both going up. They're both acting as safe havens. They're both acting as inflation hedges. Only Bitcoin is better because look how much more Bitcoin is up than gold. Well, first of all, gold is near 52-week high at 1,920. Bitcoin is still miles away from its 52-week high of 69,000, but you have to understand that Bitcoin is not rising for the same reasons that gold is rising. Gold is rising as an inflation hedge. Gold is rising as a safe haven. It's just not rising that dramatically, but again, in relation to other assets, it's rising substantially. I mean, think about somebody who's lived in Russia, right? If you had a bunch of money in gold versus Russian stocks, look at how much wealth you've preserved by being in gold. And in fact, that's true throughout the world right now. Pretty much all stock prices are falling in terms of gold, with the exception of these tech stocks that have risen over the past several trading days. But if you go back over the last several months, gold has held up much better than these stocks. So gold is acting as a store of value. It is hedging against risks and inflation. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is rising right now for the same reason that these overpriced yet beaten down non-income generating tech stocks are going up. It's part of the correction as people are selling these dividend paying value stocks that had been performing so well leading up to the events in Russia. Those stocks are now coming down, and some of that money is now flowing back into these beaten down stocks, especially since so many people are making the argument that those stocks are on sale. They've already gone down so much, whereas a lot of the value stocks were hitting 52-week highs. These momentum stocks were 50, 60, 70, 80% below their 52-week highs. Money is flowing in there. But I don't think this trade is going to have legs. I don't think it's going to work out the way a lot of investors think, because they're looking back in the rearview mirror at the way these things have played out. Because right now, what's going on in Russia, this is basically the latest variant that the Fed is going to use as an excuse to ease policy. First we had COVID, and then we had the Delta variant, and then we had Omicron, and the world is really getting tired of COVID. I mean, it's COVIDed out, but the Fed needs another excuse. And so if it's not going to be COVID, what's it going to be? And Russia is the gift from heaven. I mean, this is exactly what the Fed needed, because it needed some way to save face, some way to dial back the expectations of all these rate hikes. And in fact, some excuse not to hike rates at all. Now, I'm not really sure about that. I may be 50-50 because the markets still believe the Fed is going to hike rates, just not as many times as they believed a couple of weeks ago. But as the situation continues to get worse, and it probably will get worse, more of those expected hikes are going to be priced out of the market. And we'll see what happens, because if it's clear that the U.S. economy is headed to or is already in recession by mid-March, will the Fed actually pull the trigger on rates? Will the Fed deliberately make a recession worse with rate hikes?
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.